Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to this lecture, which is the introductory lecture as to why using a CDN to optimize speed is extremely important. And let me explain it to you with this use case right here. So picture it like this. Let's say you're in the United States, if that is the United States, because I'm not the most expert when it comes to maps. I don't know where the United States is or where Russia is or where any country is. I'm just living in this world. I don't know anything. But supposing that that is the US. Now, when you, as a US citizen, when you purchase a domain and you host it, generally speaking, your domain is going to be hosted in the US. Okay? So most of the time, especially if you buy it through these basically high-end hosting providers such as GoDaddy or Bluehost or Hostinger, your website is going to be hosted there. Now, the issue is that when someone, for example, is looking for your website in a different country, such as, for example, Africa, Russia, or whatever that other country is, or Europe. So if they are looking for your basic website, the issue is that they're going to have to wait until they get the information from the server, which is in the US. So the distance between the server and the country of the person searching for your website is pretty vast, okay? Which basically will give people that are living in a place far away from where your website is hosted, it's going to make the load time bigger than, for instance, someone in the US. Someone in the US will have a significantly lower load time because the server is in the US and the person is in the US. And similarly, if they are living in a city very close to the city where your website is hosted. And so the closeness to the server is what decides the load time. I hope I made that point clear. Now, there is a solution to this problem, and that is to have your website stored in multiple servers all around the world. So if that were the case, someone in Africa will have a faster load time because here's what happens. There's this diagram or a theory of the ants. I don't know if you know that the ants are pretty smart. It's called the diagram of Dijkstra. You can go and search for it. And so the ants, they look for the fastest time or fastest road or the shortest road to get to the food. Okay. And so what they do is they don't go all at once to search for food. They stay in one place and then they send emissaries. And these emissaries, they go and once they find a spot, a lucrative spot where food is abundant, they just emit a specific pitch voice. And the other ants, when they hear that voice, they can understand and they can basically get, is that something that we should go for? And always their decision is based on how much time is it going to take for them to go from place to another. So if two ants might be shouting at the same time, I found the food, the ants are not going to go to the one who's basically the farthest. Okay, so they're going to go to the shortest first, they're going to take all the food there, and they're going to move on to the next one. So this is the algorithm of Dijkstra. Now, this applies particularly to this as well, because if someone is in Africa searching for your website, what's going to happen is if the server is in Africa, they're going to get the website from that server if the distance is less than the distance from the US, where your website is originally stored in Africa. I hope you got the point. Now, this is all good and beautiful, but the thing is that most website or most hosting providers don't have servers all around the world, okay? And so in most cases, for some countries, the load time will be significantly better. Now, imagine if we create what we call imaginary or virtual servers, okay? Virtual servers where you could create a server in particularly different locations without a physical server, right? So you can make it virtual, something digital. Now, this is what a CDN comes into play. A CDN like Cloudflare does exactly this. And that is the reason why it is extremely important to connect Cloudflare to your website which is going to be the topic of our next lecture, and I will see you there to explain to you how that works, and I want your full attention.